Hello and welcome to your third installment of the Teep Talk Show. I'm your host, Wes.
And I'm the co-host, Russ.
And tonight we're going to be going over the card that's coming this upcoming Saturday with Garry versus Prates.
Yes.
Prates.
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 Yeah.
It's Prates. Garry versus Prates. Now, I personally have a whole other thing going on than what he does. He's written down a whole lot of different research about the main cards. I have written down some things that I've found to be very successful in the early prelims and going on to the prelims of the fight that I think will have some good success. Now, quickly reviewing our last show's failure. If you lost, that just means you were dumb enough to not fade us. But we'll do better this time because we were betting with our hearts. This time we are betting with our minds and statistic analysis and odds. And the stuff he said would win actually won, and I lost. But that's okay because we have viewers. Speaking of viewers, I'd like to thank one of our favorite viewers that just subscribed last week. Got to watch them all. Thank you for your viewership.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to start with what you have for the main cards. Wait.
Should we start with the prelims first?
Let's start with the prelims, and we'll get to the main stuff later. Because
yes.
we got to build it up, right?
Yes.
Of course. So, now, what I have found, and you can be my Jamie for this, as Joe Rogan would have. Chelsea Chandler versus Jocelyn Edwards. That's one of the first fights on the card. Now, Chelsea Chandler comes in at plus 240 odds, while Jocelyn Edwards comes in at negative 298. Michael Chandler's sister is Chelsea Chandler, and if she is anything like him, that makes Jocelyn Edwards a lock. So, take a loan out on Mama's house and put it on Jocelyn Edwards. I'm telling you, I've got a little lock right here. I put a lock on the thing. I drew one because that's my lock of the night. That is the bet to take. Now, $10 on that's not really going to get you much, but if you want to win something, there it is. But I have that with some other things. We're building a parlay here that's going to be around that plus 100-ish range, and you're just going to double your money that you put in. If you're a gambler, you understand. So, possible decision. What I've seen with all these, with the research that I've done, both of theirs go to decision a lot. Chelsea Chandler's go to decision a lot. Look up the last 5 fights with Chelsea Chandler and Jocelyn Edwards.
Last 5?
Mm-hmm.
Chandler is 3 of their fights are decision and then 1 TKO knockout.
With Jocelyn Edwards as a TKO?
No.
Chandler's a TKO.
We're doing, yeah.
Okay.
Chandler.
So, by decision. Okay. So you're going to put that in. Jocelyn Edwards. Just put Jocelyn Edwards' money line in the parlay. But if you want to get frisky, go to decision. By decision. Right? My next pick. Okay. Giga Chikadze.
That's the main cards.
Yeah, this is a main card. Yeah, one of the main cards. Giga Chikadze. It's a weird name. Versus David Onuma. Am I saying that right? David Onuma? Are you seeing him?
Oh, I thought we were doing the prelims.
This is just the parlay. This is the parlay I've picked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Onuma. And we're going, well, I'll tell you what. Giga Chikadze is plus 145. David Onuma is negative 175. We're going to go with David Onuma, and it's a possible submission. He's good on the ground. He's good with jiu-jitsu and all that good stuff. Good wrestler.
I was going to go with Onama, too.
Yeah. Onama is going to get it done, and that is negative 175 odds. And if you want to put the decision on there, or what method of victory, it's a submission. So if you're going by strictly method of victories, we got possible. It's a decision on the Jocelyn Edwards, and then David Onuma by submission. Okay. Now, next one, because I got 4 here. 4 of them. Michael Pereira versus Abbas Magomedov. Now, I've got Michael Pereira, really good kickboxer. He's going to out kickbox Abab. How do you say that? I spelled it right. I got bad handwriting. Abus Magomedov.
Yeah. I think it's Abus.
Abus Magomedov.
Not a bus.
Now, here's the thing. Statistically, when it comes to the UFC or any fighting championship in the world, if someone has a beard and no mustache, they're from Dagestan, especially if their name ends in Medov of any kind, they're statistically destined to win. So, if you want to fade this bet, you most definitely can. Because the no mustache and the beard and the Muslimism and the being from Dagestan typically wins every time. We've seen it a bajillion times.
Yes.
So this bet right here might not need to be taken seriously. So I'm warning you, the viewer, all 8 of you, right now, that this might not be the bet to take. But I am a risk taker. I'm doing it for glory. And the fact that I can say I did it. So I will be taking Michael Pereira. Better kickboxer. Yes. Right? Is that why? I don't know. I looked this up last night. I don't know these people.
Is it because his last name's Pierre?
Yes. Pereira. No, that's not really the reason why. Next bet. So far, we've got Jocelyn Edwards. If you're going by the way of victories possible, it's a decision. David Onuma, money line. If you're going by the way of the victory, it's a submission. Michael Pereira, money line. Do what you want with that. My last one on this parlay, straight out of the pits of Hades. Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. Randy Brown is 250, minus 250 odds. Nicholas Dalby is plus 205. Now, do that again. Okay, anyways.
Signature.
So, now, we're going by statistics. Statistically, the UFC, it's not a main card. If someone is -2 in the -2s and the other one is plus over the 2s, right? Statistically, the -2s wins. The -200 or more always usually wins. There's some freak accidents sometimes.
Yes.
There's some miracles. Okay? But Randy Brown, I'm picking Randy Brown, and here's why. Nicholas Dalby is in his 40s. Randy Brown is not. Okay? Also, if you're going to go with the method of victory, I'm suggesting Randy Brown by knockout.
Let's not let that fool you, though, by the way.
I know.
Alexander is older than Diego, and Alexander won.
Alexander is also at the top level of the UFC. I've never even heard of Nicholas Dalby before.
I don't know who that is.
Exactly.
That's why Randy Brown's going to win.
Randy Brown's winning. Now, I have one more thing for this parlay. Those are just absolute good odds. Can you get on FanDuel real quick, or can you get on DraftKings really quick?
I already got all that written down.
No, what I'm saying, could you get on DraftKings and put these in? These
for the winnings.
Because I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to to write that down last night as I was slaving away at this research that I was doing from other YouTubers that I found that were saying things. Anyways, he's going to look that up while I explain this. Ming Yang Zhang versus Anthony Smith. Now, Anthony Smith, we have good memories with him in the UFC. I think he's going to make a great commentator. And not a commentator, what do they call it? An analyst. He's going to make a good analyst, hanging around with Chael Sonnen. He is plus 400 odds. Ming Yang Zhang is negative 525. Okay. Anthony Smith is 37-21. That is his record. Ming Yang Zhang is 18-6. Now, Anthony Smith was UFC last week, right? Was it last week or the week before? Ooh, the CTE is kicking in. I can't remember these things. But anyways, he was at the fight beforehand, commentating and analyzing, being an analyst on the show, right? Most times, folks don't do that when they're getting ready for a fight. They've got other things to be doing. They don't need to be riding around getting jet lagged, and especially when he's this freaking old.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be one of those Steph Curry full court shots for glory.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Anthony Smith all the way. He's going to win. I'm kidding. No. I actually have Ming Yang Zhang by way of murder. That's what's going to happen. Ming Yang Zhang is going to play with him before he takes him out. Now, if you want to put this in the parlay, you can. I just thought that it was a funny thing. This dude is negative 525 with a guy who's 36 years old. 10 years difference, by the way. 10 years his senior at plus 40 or plus 400.
Well, let's put this in and see how we're looking with this parlay.
Yeah.
So what's the money line? Go from the start.
Okay. So
you got Edwards, correct?
Yep. Jocelyn Edwards.
All right, we got Jocelyn.
Mm-hmm. And then David Onuma. Mm-hmm.
All right, then you said you got Pierre. And then Randy Brown.
And then Brown, yep.
And then Zhang.
I'm not adding that to the parlay because it just doesn't really make that much sense. It's too high of a thing anyway.
We'll do this in a second.
But if you want to.
What about the main event? Main card.
Yeah. Well,
let's go with this for now.
Yeah, let's go for this
for $10.
Mm-hmm.
Just for those, you get $49.12. Now, just to throw this in there, okay? Now, if you decided to add Zhang to this parlay, you'll get $59.92 for $10. But if you go with Anthony Smith in this parlay for the $10 with all of those other ones, you will get $221.08. Yes. So, now, Ian is the favorite for the main card. So, I'll just put this in real quick, just so you guys, if you want to pick him as your favorite, because he's 15-1. Okay? 15-1. Carlos is 21-6. But if you decide to go with Ian and all these other guys, just in case if you picked him.
Who does... Who's Carlos Prates train with?
Oh.
Look up who he trains with.
Before I do that, the Ian thing, though. If you decide to go with this parlay and you pick Ian, you get 86.92. That's what you'll get. Without the Zhang and the Anthony
Yeah,
Smith.
without the Zhang.
If you decide to go with Carlos, however, you get 103.17 for $10. Now, I'm gonna go look this up real quick while he discusses some stuff with you.
Okay, so yeah, this is something I was looking up the other day. And I want to be completely sure that I'm right about what I'm talking about before I even bring this up. Who does Prates train with?
Okay. Where does he train? I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
He trains, later started Muay Thai at Vale Top Team.
Vale Top Team. So he does not have any business with the fighting nerds.
We could do that.
We got to get that out of the way.
Does Carlos,
if somebody does anything with the fighting nerds, we're not betting against them
with
for the foreseeable future.
The what? The fighting nerds?
Yeah.
Yes. Carlos Prates trains with fighting nerds.
There you go. Prates is going to win because he wears the funny glasses.
And he also trains with Vale Top Team. So there we go. Pick Carlos.
Yep. So Carlos Prates. I don't even have to give you an analysis. Now, I do have a bad taste in my mouth after what happened to my boy Bryce Mitchell. But that has nothing to do with statistical analytics and gambling and money. Go with Prates. We don't need to give you anything. There's 19-0 in the UFC with all of them. All of the fighting nerds people combined, 19-0. It's going to be 20-0 this weekend. They are on another level. They have data analysis. They have, you ready for this? They have data analysis data analyzers. Yeah, there we go. They have data analyzers working for them to figure out the patterns of other people. Did you know that? Yes. I know that because I've seen it on Chelsea. They have data analysis people working to figure out the algorithmic data on how to beat people, and they are that honed in and they cook that hard. So I'm riding the fighting nerds train all the way, even though after what they did to my boy, from a gambling perspective, I'm going with the fighting nerds. And Garry is a cuck. Yeah, his wife's ex-boyfriend lives with them. Yeah.
Never would do that.
Yes.
Very strange.
Yes.
Very strange.
So I'm going with Prates.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Well, let's go over to these main cards here myself and see what we've written down here. So we got the first one, which is Ikram Aliskerov. Might be butchering their name.
It's a very weird name.
Yeah, he's 15-2. And then going up against Andre Muniz, 24-6. Now, Ikram has lost to Robert Whittaker, round 1, knockout TKO. While the fight before that, he faced a guy named Alves, knocked him out, round 1, TKO. And Andre won his last fight against a guy named Park, a round 3 split decision, so 3-round split decision, and fought a guy named Craig, lost to him round 2, knockout TKO. The odds, Ikram is minus 535, while Andre is plus 400. Yes. If you want to risk it, plus 400, but I don't know. One guy lost to Robert Whittaker TKO knockout, and this guy won the split decision the last time, so we already know how that's going to work.
What is your heart telling you, Russ?
It's going to be Ikram. Probably.
The Bible I read says don't follow your heart because it'll deceive you.
Yeah, it's deceived us many times. But that's basically it for that one. Let's move on to who do you think's going to win?
So now the odds
The odds are very up there.
I just wouldn't bet on somebody that was favored too much. It's not really worth it.
Yeah.
But if you want to add it into a parlay, it'll give you some money.
If you got $5, $10,
Yeah.
$2, get some money. We already went over the Randy Brown and Nicholas, but let's go over a couple of things with this. He already chose Randy Brown. I chose Randy Brown. I'm going to leave it at that, but we're going to go over this real quick just in case you want a little bit of information. Nicholas is 23-5-1. Okay. He lost his last fight to a guy I can't say to split decision, and he won the fight for that to another guy I can't say to knockout. Or he won that knockout TKO.
You can't say because you're trying to protect their...
I can't say it because I don't know how to pronounce it.
Not to protect their identity.
No.
Okay.
I can't say it. You can look it up on UFC.com. We're not sponsored, by the way, by that.
We're also not sponsored by DraftKings either.
No.
Yet.
But we will be one
day. But DraftKings, if you see this, we would love to work out a sponsorship agreement with you.
One day.
Or tomorrow.
Or in an hour.
In an hour.
Who knows?
Bring it.
Anyway, moving on to the next thing.
DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Randy Brown. 19-6.
Mm-hmm.
Lost his last fight to a guy named Battle. That's his last name. Split decision. Another split decision. Won the fight before that, unanimous decision against a guy named Dos Santos. So far, what I'm seeing, these guys lost their last fight to split decision, so it's probably going to go to another decision. Or a knockout, actually. Might go to a knockout. But guys that can fight split decisions usually go to decision.
Yes. Now, if I say it's going to be a knockout, take decision. Because
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, we already went over Abbas and Pierre. But I'm going to go over this real quick. So, Abbas is 27-6-1. Won his last two fights. Okay. First one was to a guy named Fiera to submission, round 3. And the other guy is round 3, unanimous decision.
Fireworks for unanimous decision. There you go.
And then we have Fiera is 31-12.
Hey.
That's a lot of fights and a lot of losses. 12. Lost his last fight to a guy named Hernandez to round 5 knockout TKO.
Round 5?
Yeah. I guess he fought 5 rounds.
Huh. Okay.
And he won the fight before that against another guy that has kind of a similar name, Potiera.
Poteria.
Round 1 submission.
Potteria.
But he lost his last fight to knockout TKO, and he's 31-12. I know he chose him, but I might go with Abbas for this one for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got Jija.
Also,
Chikafe.
You didn't add in your pros and cons for what's his name?
Who? Which one? Oh,
Magomedov.
Yeah.
You didn't add in the fact that he doesn't have a mustache.
That's okay.
Yeah. Just throwing that out there again.
But
no mustache.
But Giga,
no loss.
15-4. Lost his last fight, round 3 unanimous decision, 3 rounds unanimous decision against a guy named Allen, and then won the fight before that against Alex Karalexis, I think's his name, or Bruce Leroy. If you don't know who that is, the Ultimate Fighter.
Could you imagine your name being Bruce Leroy?
It was on the Ultimate Fighter. He's the guy with the fro that wears the Bruce Lee yellow. You know who it is if you watch it. George St. Pierre and Josh Koscheck. I know that because I own a lot of the Ultimate Fighters that he picks on me about.
I went to this man's house, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need to bring everyone back to being 15 again. I went to this man's house. We've known each other for years. He moved away, and when he moved back, he couldn't afford Wi-Fi. He's rich now. He can afford Wi-Fi and Netflix. But when he didn't have Wi-Fi, I went over to his house because this is my boy. We're hanging out, and he said, "Hey, you want to watch some Ultimate Fighter with me?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah. What's that come on?" And he goes, "Oh, I've got the DVDs, bro."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, what season?" He goes, "Pick one."
Pick a season.
every season that you can possibly get on a DVD platform. He had. So we sat there. The first season that we sat and watched was the one with Nate Diaz.
No.
No, we sat and watched the one with we watched the thing with
First ever
Hoist Gracie.
Oh yeah, we watched the DVD.
The documentary on the
wasn't the Ultimate Fighter. We watched Hoist
Fighter.
Gracie.
Yeah, and then we watched the Ultimate Fighter, and we were like, wow, it looks like so much fun to sit and have like a fire with your boys. Yeah. Like that. That is the Ultimate Fighter is peak male bliss. I think that's what every man strives to have to some degree. Living in a house with a bunch of other dudes, lighting fires and stuff, and doing dumb things with each other. And lest we forget one of our favorite people that we've seen. Do you remember the guy that just looked at that other dude and said, I just want to bang, bro? Who was he? Whatever happened to him? I wonder what he's doing
got
now.
bare knuckle.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if
he
he's
really
still
wants to bang.
I don't know if it's still in it or not. But
probably not.
Yeah.
Probably suck.
I don't know.
But anyways, yes. He has every season of The Ultimate Fighter on DVD.
Yep. Even the Jail Sonnen and John Jones one.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Best pound for pound fighter of all time.
Yeah. And Jail Sonnen is best villain. Best gangster.
Mm-hmm. Best bad
for sure. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to David Onama. 13-2. Okay. Won his last two fights. One against Romeo, or unanimous decision, and then the other one against Pierce, unanimous decision. 2 decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we're going with that. And that one, and the other guy lost in 1 to decision. So we know where that's going to end up.
Yep.
Now, Zhang Mingyang.
Mingyang.
18-6.
18-6.
Won his last 2 fights against a guy named Diaz. No, not any of the Diaz brothers.
No, of course not.
Round 1 knockout TKO. Okay, round 1.
See, and that's another thing. That I think that it'll be a TK, or it could be a.
And you know what the fight? You know what the fight before that is?
It could be a KO in this one.
The fight before that, Ribeiro, round 1 TKO.
See.
So he won his last 2 fights by knockout TKO.
Yeah. So
round 1.
A good prop for this bet would be a way of victory KO TKO.
And Anthony Smith, 38-21. And he lost his last 2 fights. One to Dominic Reyes, which we watched recently, that he won his fight by round 2 knockout TKO. And the fight before that was round 3 unanimous decision. So Anthony Smith is probably going to lose, for sure. But you can risk it if you want to. If you got a little bit of money on you.
Mm-hmm.
$5. Hell, put $5 on Anthony Smith and the other guy, plus 400. See what you get. Right?
Yep.
You could just do that. Just do those 2 parlays. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen in the fight game.
Yep.
To the main event. Now, I did something today that I thought was just I've seen before, so I'm just going to tell you in a second. Ian Mahado Garry, could be butchering the name.
Machado.
15-1.
It's Machado.
Okay, 15-1. Lost his last fight to unanimous decision. And the fight before that, he lost a 1 against Page, unanimous decision. Decisions, right? Carlos Prates, 21-6. It's good. Not bad at all. He won his last 2 fights by knockout TKO, round 1 and round 2. So one guy can go to decision, and the other guy is knocking people out. Now, here's what I did. I decided to do. UFC Fight. Again, we're not sponsored by this game at all. Some people will.
But we should be.
Some people will take that video game and make the 2 fighters compete against each other, and basically do it either one time or a couple times. So you know what I decided to do? I took Ian and Carlos and put them against each other in simulation, legendary. So it's very accurate or whatever. This is what I got out of it. This is just a video game, so don't go off a video game. But this is what I got. The first fight for Ian and Carlos. Ian won by round 5 unanimous decision.
Mm.
And then I had them fight again. And then Ian won round 5 in 4 minutes and 1 second to TKO against Carlos. So I ran it twice, and Ian won twice.
Mm-hmm.
That is a video game statistic. Please, if you want to go off of that, that is your decision. If you would like to, but
another
again, it's a
thing.
video game.
Let's put our tinfoil hats on for a minute, okay? Now, when it comes to video game statistics, he's not the only one doing that.
No,
He's not the only person that's saying, "Hey, I'm gonna let the video game decide."
No,
especially for big things like that. With the people, the powers that be, and I'm not gonna talk about the beliefs of those people that are the powers that be that just so happen to own the Ultimate Fighting Championship. What they're doing is they're going with the gaming consoles and or with the the algorithms of their games, and they're saying, "Hey, let's make the least likely person to win on the game when people want to simulate it, so that they'll bet accordingly." I'm not saying that's true.
No.
But I am saying that if it were me, that's what I would do.
You know what I do too? Sean Strickland
Comes out with destroy Sean Strickland.
You should see the results of the game, though.
No.
See, sometimes the games, well, I'm telling you, will not tell the truth. I would get into that in a second, but we'll get to that to another video. Next video. Next video we do, I'm going to go through some of the game simulations that I did because, well, there's no because. You'll just find out in the next video.
Well, is it in the next one?
Yeah. We can talk about it. We can talk about it next one.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we have anything else?
No. Unfortunately not. Not at the moment. We have whenever the DraftKings. We have whenever a one gaming simulation. If you would like to take that statistic, you're more than happy to. If not, you don't have to. We went over the fight cards, prelims, some prelims, and then main cards. And that's pretty much all I have at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you love and care about. Also, I'm creating either a shorts channel or I'll be putting some more shorts on here. So if you don't have time for the long form comment or content, you can definitely look that up. It's got closed captioning, things of that nature for the hearing impaired. Also, watch out for an Instagram and a Twitter and a TikTok. I'll be posting things on that too. I'm gonna make it, so go ahead and follow it whenever you see it. I'll just put it up here.
And you will love shorts.
Shorts.
Because it gets us, because you know why? You love shorts because it gets us closer to our beautiful faces that you get to look at every time.
Yes. And all the whimsical comedy that comes about from our videos. It gets put into these little B-roll topics.
Yes.
But as always, thank you, and God bless.